So welcome back people. In this video, we are going to look at our first type in TypeScript and it's called the any type. Just so that you know, we are working in the same development environment that we had created and I'm writing all my code in my index.ts file here. So with that out of the way, let's start understanding the any type. Now, any type is the default type in JavaScript that you have already been working with, and it suggests that the value can be of type any. The whole point of using TypeScript is to avoid any type, and that's the default behavior of JavaScript. Let's see this with an example. Now let me declare a variable over here and let me assign it a type of any. This is a syntax to assign types to variables. So the name of the variable followed by a colon and then the type that you want to assign to that particular variable. Now in this case, the first name variable can be of type any. So this means I can store any kind of value in the first name variable that I have over here, and TypeScript is not going to complain even if I change the type of value over here. So for example, I can assign a number to the first name instead of assigning it a string. Now you see over here, first name has been assigned a number and TypeScript is not really complaining about it. So with any type, it can be any type of value. So instead of a number, it can be an array as well. So here I have assigned an array of numbers to first name and TypeScript is not complaining. Now this is a big problem. So no matter what value I assign to this variable, TypeScript will not complain. Assigning any to any variable is equivalent to letting JavaScript automatically infer the value of the variable, and this is what we want to avoid in TypeScript. And this is actually a default JavaScript behavior. So JavaScript tries to infer the type of value that you want to assign to a variable based on the value that you have assigned. So in this case, JavaScript would infer that first name is of the type of value string. But the moment I assign a number to the first name, JavaScript would infer that this is a number. And this is what TypeScript is actually here for. We want to avoid this behavior. The whole purpose of using TypeScript to assign strict types to our values. So though type any exists, it's the last resort. So you have to remember this. You don't want to use any type until there is no other solution available. So it's good to know that this kind of type exists in TypeScript, but we are not going to use this often. There is a corner case that you must be aware of, as there can be instances where you make an error and try to declare a value that is automatically inferred as of type any by TypeScript. Now here I'm going to share an example with you explaining what I'm trying to say. I will write a multiply by 2 function which takes a number as an argument and multiplies it by 2. So let's get on to it. Now here you see TypeScript throws an error at me and says that parameter number implicitly has any type. This is the default behavior of TypeScript, that when it finds any value that is even implied as any type, it throws an error. Now you can override this default value in tsconfig file. Though I'm going to show it to you how to override this value, I would not recommend you do that. I'm going to open my tsconfig file. And I'm going to search for a particular property called no implicit any. Now by default, this is set to true when your strict option is set to true. And what I can do is, just to show it to you, I can set it to false. Now you will see once this is set to false, I can go to my index.ts file and you will see that this error goes away. Now though the error has gone away, but this has made your function prone to more errors, because now number can be of type string, array, object, and any kind of value multiplied by 2 is not going to give you the kind of results that you're expecting out of this function. I'm going to go to my tsconfig file and I'm going to set this value to true. Now you see we have our error back as well. So the summary here is, even though the any type exists, it is the last resort that you're going to use, and that's all that you need to know about any type. Now let's move on to the next type.